Anderson here. See, let's try that again. Hi everybody, Jeanette Anderson here from bodacity.ca. And today I wanted to talk about unstoppability. Part of why I wanted to talk about unstoppability is because that's what it takes to find a place to do your show when you're running late on your errands and everything is taking longer and you have to and you aren't home yet or back to your office or back to any place where there's a reliable, quiet, safe space to do your show. Unstoppability means finding a restaurant, running in, and doing your show in spite of not being as things going as planned. Okay, so why do we want to talk about unstoppability? As some of you may know, I have taken, I've taken all of the personal best or LifeSpring courses and became a facilitator of those courses many years ago, several decades ago. I still think they are some of the best experiential courses on the planet. Great for lifting the anchors of the past, taking a look at what beliefs do serve and don't serve us. So LifeSpring and its derivatives. So when it came to Canada, it became Personal Best, which then was changed to the Creators Code in Alberta and at any rate. Is an amazing and an awesome personal development course. I facilitated the second level of it for many years and love that course. As part of my commitment to ongoing personal and professional development, I also took the whole Landmark series. Landmark was one of the same, there was 5 originators of the personal development movement that came out of national training labs after the war when they were studying productivity. And 2 of those people, one was Warner Earhart, who started EST, which then became Landmark, and I'm sorry, I forget the name of the originator of LifeSpring right now. Those people then, those organizations went on to grow and develop, and Landmark is one of the most popular or attended courses in certainly North America and I think globally right now. The difference between the two, if you're thinking of doing a personal development course, one of the things, personal or professional development, that I would say as far as the differentiator is Personal Best LifeSpring is very experiential. It's great for those who've done some personal development work, who already have a grounding in taking a look at what our beliefs are, limiting beliefs, what serve us, what don't serve us, and Landmark tends to be a little more cerebral. It is much more about accessing concepts and ideas and transformation, but through language. It's much more about throwing your anchor into the future. Who am I going to be? Whereas Landmark or LifeSpring is quite a bit more about pulling your anchor out of the past, the anchors that have been slowing us down, stopping us, or getting in the way. So why am I telling you about this? Okay, part of why I'm telling you about this is because of this. Oops, hang on. There we go. This is on my computer. I am currently in a Landmark seminar. There we go. Try to get it so you can see the whole thing. There we go. And called Money from Concern to Freedom. The Landmark seminars are 10 weeks long and are really very fabulous value for the money and a great opportunity to kind of recommit, re-choose. Who do I choose to be? How do I choose to show up in my life? And I think that that's a valuable conversation. I have done a lot of training, a lot of courses, both personal and business and everything in between, including Mama Gina's mastery course, most recently, that I just completed in New York. I love personal growth. I love navel gazing. I love getting to know myself better and learning and growing. And I have never done, unless I was facilitating, I as a participant, have never done any course what I would consider to be 100%. All in, fully participating. The exception to that actually would be my level 2 when I took it 30 years ago. But since then, in my life in general, because I believe how we do anything is how we do everything, certainly in the courses I've taken, there is a lot of participation, a lot of activity, a lot of vulnerability, willingness to be real, to show up, etc. And it's never 100%. Now, I can't tell you how many times as a personal growth facilitator I have said to people and to myself that 99% is a bitch. It is so much easier to go 100%. It is so much easier to be all in than to hold ourselves back. And yet, we don't. I know this from personal, really close personal experience. In my business as of late, I've been holding myself back in every aspect of my life. Hi, Karen. Hi, Shelley. I've been doing things at about somewhere between 60 and 70%. Now, here's the problem with people who are competent and intelligent, is our 60, 70% looks pretty damn good. Looks like some people's 100%. But who knows it's not? I know. So this commitment, this little form or sheet that I have on my computer and in my bathroom and in my desk on my office, represents quite a significant shift for me. It represents a shift to being absolutely willing to be 100% in the seminar and in my life, and to commit to unstoppability. So I'm going to unpack that because there's a lot in that one little post-it. So my commitment, first of all, I typically avoid commitment like the plague because I tend to break my agreements with myself, especially. I will keep them with other people most of the time, and tend to break them with myself. So I don't make commitments because then I have a back door and because I don't trust myself. So the fact that I made a commitment, first of all, made my butt go tight and I gave the chair a hickey, and it was a very tense moment. And then I kind of just laughed and recognized that resistance, which I've been seeing all around me, certainly in my life, in my mirror, and in my clients, in the people that I work with, in people who are in my groups that I am currently leading, resistance is so huge. There is this rebellious resistance, not if you want me to, or resistance to rocking the boat, so approval resistance, I call it. So where we're resisting actually expressing ourselves and standing up and owning our power, because that takes resistance to not own our power. People think it takes a lot to do it. It actually takes, I think, more to deny it and squish it down. So there's this huge amount of resistance around me. Now, of course, wherever we are, well, that's what we see. If you buy a yellow Volkswagen, you see yellow Volkswagens everywhere. If you're in the middle of resistance, you tend to see it everywhere. So that's going on. And I really see, and both within myself and in all of everywhere else I look, how big a price we pay for resistance, how hard it is on us physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, how much it makes our experience of life so diminished because we're so busy balancing the gas and the brake and trying to recover from having the gas and the brake, I've got weird hair sticking up, gas and the brake on, that we often don't pause long enough to really pay attention to the exact prices we are paying, like burnout, dis-ease, physical issues, lack of enjoyment, lack of passion, lack of connection with our why. Relationships tend to suffer. Our finances certainly suffer. So it is really an opportunity to pause at any moment and say, okay, what am I in resistance to, and how is this serving me? Is it serving me in any way, shape, or form? So I'm going to do the seminar in my life with 100% complete. Okay, so this comes back to that whole 99% is a bitch. And I have slid through a lot of my life on 70% effort, 80% effort, and produced amazing results. So I can function there, and so can you. And that's part of what undermines our trust with ourselves, to keep our commitments to ourselves, to be willing to be able to take care of ourselves 100%, to be the kind of people who have our own backs. Because when we half-ass it like that, and trust me, 80% is half-assed. When we do that, then we undermine and erode that sense of trust, and therefore our ability to really go forward in life. So if you guys, have an experience of this, just type hell yes in the chat, or absolutely. And why does this matter? This is not, by the way, shaming or an admonition about women don't do enough, or you aren't doing enough, or I'm not doing enough. God knows, chances are good we're doing too much, and it's coming out of this resistance and spinning and trying to compensate and so forth. 100% in doesn't mean do more, be more, have more. 100% in means I take the foot off the brake and I am absolutely willing to show up and participate fully in whatever that is, including our shadow, including our fucked upness, including the stuff that doesn't work, to really be willing to be imperfectly 100% present. And the last piece, unstoppable, is about not buying stories, not buying my stories, not buying my excuses, however reasonable and rational I can make them sound. It means being committed to finding a way to create alignment and integrity. And integrity doesn't mean that I never renegotiate something. It doesn't mean that I always get everything right. It means being willing to address the situation, ideally before it's out of alignment. But if not, being willing to address it afterwards and to bring that back into alignment with that other person in the situation, with myself, whatever the situation may be, so that I have that sense of being impeccable in my word and trusting that means something for me and for other people. So my encouragement about this is unstoppability is, because I was looking at what's the difference between commitment and unstoppability. Commitment means I'm committed to the end result. Unstoppability means no matter what, and it's an energy that we bring to anything and everything we do. So for instance, I can't get home in time for this show, fine, I'll stop and do it somewhere else. I'm trying to think of a real life example of unstoppability recently. Okay, so I'm having challenges with someone around some finances right now. They owe me money, aren't paying, and I have done a tremendous amount of work to clear the barbs out, to clear the charge, so that I can move forward. Just sent this person a final email and said, no, I am not willing to waive any of the money outstanding. I do want to be paid in full. And yes, I realize that may mean that you never talk to me again. And I value the work I provided and would want to be paid for it. There is in that, there's a bigger story behind that, but in the past, I have let go of $120,000 because it was too much work to confront, in that case, an organization that was being a bully. And so I let it go. What I let go was being a stand for me and owning and claiming my value. In this situation, albeit for much less amount, I'm not willing to abandon me. And so being a stand for me and saying, no, I do actually insist that you pay me, is a level of unstoppability in the face of fear of rejection, fear of repercussions and ramifications in the business world, in the industry, and sadness around the loss of a valuable relationship. So there are prices and consequences, but being unstoppable means, for me in this situation, being 100% committed to having my back and claiming my value with as little of the barbs as possible. So doing the work to take those out so that I'm as clean and clear as I can be in a situation, and being a stand for what I believe is right. So I'm saying all of this about me, but really what I'm talking about is all of us. How do we bring that level of unstoppability to our desires, to what we want more of? Because that's where we often bail on ourselves, our desires. We treat them as nice to haves, not get to haves and have to haves, and totally deserves and committed to creating these with the same degree of passion that we might be committed to creating, for instance, value for an employee, or being a good mom for a kid, or something like that. So my question for you all this week is, what are you committed to? And really committed to, as opposed to having back doors and slippery little ways where we're kind of sort of committed, but not quite. Where in your life can you bring unstoppability if you choose to, and what would it do for you? What would it mean to actually choose unstoppability? What might you get accomplished? What might you experience yourself as being? Because I got to tell you, my experience after making this commitment was a completely different version of myself than who I have been for about the past 3-4 years. On fire, in the game, making a difference, powerful, and capable of being, doing, and having more, but not having to. So there's an expansiveness and a capacity that I haven't felt for quite a long time. I knew was there intellectually, but wasn't experiencing within myself. So my inquiry, my question, my encouragement is, what would it mean for you to commit to being unstoppable in your life, however that looks, whatever that means? It might mean in your business, it might mean in your relationships. And how can we be unstoppable in our desires? So that means, for example, if you want a better love life, you go and have that conversation with your partner, or go create a partner. It means being unstoppable in whatever realms are significant and meaningful to you. So, commitment, 100% in. Unstoppability. What would that do for you? How could you create that? And I would love to hear, if you do decide to take that on, what that means for you, how that's shown up, what it does for your energy, what it does for you, just even making the commitment or even considering it. How does that change things for you? All right, my friends, thank you for checking in. Thank you for being here. I hope that you are having a bodacious day. It's very warm here, hence the being all hot and sweaty, which is another degree of unstoppability, is not caring and showing up because I promised I would be here. So have a bodacious week, and here's to your unstoppability. Bye, everybody.